What's going on YouTube? I have a starting pitchers tier list video. Now we're a little over 2 weeks into the game and pitching is a struggle for everybody this year. And I get asked a ton in my comment section and my Twitch live streams. Who is your starting five? Who are the best pitchers in the game? So I figured now would be a good time to go through this. I'm not going to go through every single pitcher's stats. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you're new, be sure to subscribe and turn those notification bells on. Let's get into it. So to start here, I have 4 cards here in the F tier. We have Hunter Green, Joe Ryan, Julio Urias, and Tristan McKenzie. Kind of made a cutoff at like 94 over or 92 overall. I only threw a couple of the captain cards in there. Just don't see a lot of them being used. These cards here in the F tier, I don't see any of those cards being used in ranked season. Either they just don't have a good motion, they don't have a good pitch mix. If you throw those cards, you're most likely going to get rocked. Hunter Green does have outlier, but he only has 3 pitches, so you're not going to be too successful with him. I faced Urias once and I put up 14 runs on him in 3 innings. He was so easy to read. And McKenzie and Joe Ryan are just not good options despite their overalls. So now we're going to hop into the D tier where we have the new Catfish Hunter, Hunter Brown, Jesus Luzardo, Mark Mulder, and Paul Blackburn. Now Blackburn and Mulder aren't bad options. It's just they don't have the greatest hits per 9. Like they have the pitch mix, they have some decent break and whatnot, but there's definitely some better options to use despite having the pitch mix that's so good with this game. Hunter Brown has outlier, but his pitch mix, it really isn't that great. Luzardo, he's a lefty, throws a sinker, doesn't really have anything else. And then Catfish Hunter is just never that great in the game. He's not as bad as like a Joe Ryan or Tristan McKenzie, so I bumped him up there to the D tier. A lot of these guys here, well, they're not the worst starting pitchers in the game. They're not the greatest as well. Mulder and Paul Blackburn might be some decent options early on in the year if you're just starting to build your team, or if you're just an A's fan, you can throw Mark Mulder and Paul Blackburn into your rotation. Just none of those cards are really that great for your starting rotation, and they're probably not going to do that well for you. So now we have the C tier, which is kind of like your middle of the road average starting pitcher. The 92 Corbin Burns. We have Fergie Jenkins, Fernando Valenzuela, Jacob deGrom, Shohei Ohtani, Taijuan Walker, and Yamamoto. A lot of you guys might be saying, hey, nah, what are you doing? Why is Ohtani and deGrom in the C tier? And the thing is, while they're really expensive cards, they're just really average compared to some other starters that we have in this year's game. deGrom has outlier, but his live series card is nothing like what a 99 deGrom would be, and we have so many 99 overall starters in this game that are much better. Valenzuela, he was probably the toughest one for me to put in the C tier because he's so hit or miss. He's got that nasty screwball. If they can't hit the screwball, he's going to be really good, but if they can hit it, you really have nothing else to work with. It's kind of like the screwball or bust. He only has 4 pitches. Fergie Jenkins is okay. I think he's kind of the definition of just like an average 99 overall starting pitcher. Taijuan Walker, he's okay. And then Yamamoto, I didn't really have any troubles facing him. 92 Corbin Burns is in there just because it's Corbin Burns, you know, but I don't think his stats are that great on that card. His sinker and his cutter don't move like his 99s would. Again, there's just some better pitcher options that have a sinker cutter. There's just some better pitcher options that have the good pitch mix. So a lot of these guys are just kind of middle of the road. You know, you can plug them in as like your 3 or your 4 starter, but they're not going to be your go-to ace. So now we're going to hop into the B tier where I have Adam Wainwright, Dontrell Willis, Marcus Stroman, Pablo Lopez, and Walter Johnson. Now, me personally, I use Pablo Lopez in my rotation right now. He's a very solid option. I use him as like a 4 or a 5 because I have some better starters, as we're going to see here. But a lot of these guys have a lot of stuff in common. Adam Wainwright, Marcus Stroman, Pablo Lopez, they're all very similar to each other. They throw sinker cutter. They might not throw the hardest, but they have a lot of control. A guy like Wainwright and Stroman, they don't throw hard enough for me. I have faced Stroman, I have faced Wainwright, and I've hit both of them pretty hard. If they threw just a little bit harder, they'd definitely be really, really good. D-Train is a really, really good B tier pitcher. The thing is there's just so many good right-handed hitters in this year's game. I really don't face too many lefties, like especially with collections. You have Jeter, you have McGuire, you have Sosa, and then some other cards. You have like Mike Trout, you have Chipper Jones. You really don't face that many left-handed hitters this year. There's some good lefties like Soto and Jock. They're not to the levels of some of the 99 overall cards that we have. So he's definitely a very good card. It's just tough to pitch when you see so many righties, but a lot of those cards are very solid. Walter Johnson, I think he is viable. He does have outlier. He can be a little bit funky with his motions. Again, a lot of these guys are good, but they're not great. Now we're going to hop into the A tier where we really start seeing some good starting pitchers. I have the 99 Bob Feller, 97 Cueto, 97 Mad Bum, 99 Pedro, and the 99 Yu Darvish. Now, Darvish is in the A tier. He doesn't throw the hardest. His sinker does hit like 97, 98, but his cutter is so slow that it's so hard to sit back on. He has the really good speed differentials. That is what makes him really good. He's got a funky motion. Mad Bum, I think, is a little bit better than D-Train because he has a sinker, he has a cutter, and he has a slider as well. Cueto, again, similar to Stroman and Waino, but I like Cueto more because he kind of has that funky motion. He's a little bit better than Pablo Lopez. Bob Feller, really, really good starter. The problem with him is I have a hard time locating with him. Just every single year, especially this year with how much control means, it's so hard to locate pitches with him. But if you're playing someone that's swing happy and isn't really taking many pitches, he's going to be good for you. Now, Pedro here is interesting as well. You're not going to see this card that much, especially with Babe and Chipper in that set 1 collection pack. I do think he can be very good this year, kind of like Darvish, where he can hit, 98 or whatever, but Pedro has outlier and his cutter is a little bit slower. So I think that could be very good this year. Kind of like how I said Darvish is, it's kind of hard to sit back on the cutter, and especially when Pedro has outlier, I think he can cause some problems. They're not quite S tier. I'm going to show you guys why. In here, we have my 4 S tier starting pitchers. We have 99 Bob Gibson, 97 Dustin May, 99 Roki Sasaki, and 99 Shohei Ohtani. Now, if I had to pick the best overall starting pitcher in the game, it would be Roki Sasaki. He does have some problems locating, but his stuff is so nasty that it's so hard to lay off of. And he has double outlier. He has outlier on his sinker, outlier on the fastball, plus he has a cutter, a forkball, like you name it. The guy has it. He's the best starting pitcher in the game. Dustin May, again, his stuff is gross. Sinker, cutter, has outlier on the sinker. Really tough over the top motion, tall, lanky starting pitcher, hard to read the pitch out of his hand. And Bob Gibson is finally good again, man. It's been so long since we've had a really good Gibson in the game and he's been viable, but this Gibson's been shoving for me in ranked seasons against some of the best players in the world. He has the best ERA for me personally. I don't have Sasaki on my team because I can't afford him, but Dustin May and Bob Gibson have just been unbelievable for me. Gibson's slider is so good. The only problem with Gibson is I don't know if he's bugged or not, but he has 125 stamina and he gets tired by like the 80, 85 pitch mark. So I don't know what's up with that, but he can give me a good 6-7 innings in ranked seasons. He's unbelievable. And then you have the 99 Shohei. He could do it all for you. You can put him at DH. You can pitch him. He can hit for you. He has a really good pitch mix this year. He doesn't have a sinker, but he has outlier on his fastball. He has a cutter. He has a slider. He has a splitter. His stuff is nasty. I know I play on Legend, but even on Hall of Fame, even All-Star against some players, he'd be so tough to hit. I like to keep the S tier very minimal. When I think of S tier, I think of the very best pitchers in the game, like who you really want to be in your rotation, and then maybe you can throw an A or a B tier guy in there. I think Gibson, May, Sasaki, and Ohtani are the best 4 starting pitchers in the game. If you can get like 2 or 3 of those guys in your rotation, you're set, and you could throw like a Mad Bum and a Darvish in there and you're good to go, in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list video. Again, I didn't want to go through every single card stats because we'd be here forever. This would be like an hour video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.